People are angry at RM for smoking and allegedly doing something with the staff in Japan. We have more news on the arrest warrant and that whole situation with Bang, and then we have a video currently trending that people are very excited to talk about. So please, it's Dave Decide. Let's get into it. There's a video that people have gotten very excited about, and JK recently posted him on a motorcycle, and this video very quickly garnered 8 million views. It might be way more now, and over 2 million people were reposting it, which again also might be way more by the time this video comes out. This garnered a lot of attention as it smashed a lot of records. Now, the top most reposted things on Instagram is Taylor Swift and her wedding or engagement announcement, as well as Messi, the sports player, winning his championship. Some people have talked about how those other moments, not like JK's moments, but those other moments for the other people were all like monumental life moments, while JK was just on his motorcycle. And people were very excited to see that, and he was able to get so much attention just literally being on a motorcycle. And I will say that that is very impressive because both of those other moments also received heavy news coverage around the world, and they still got the amount that they got. Meanwhile, JK being on a motorcycle isn't exactly receiving news coverage at this current moment and may or may not in the future, so those numbers are all coming from just his community. It's very exciting to see that even after several years of the boys not being active or in the spotlight anymore, that they still have this kind of pull with the media or just with their general audience. And this is all going to be very helpful for them to push forward here in the US and for a lot of people taking them very seriously. I mean, honestly, it's really just the numbers that makes a lot of the American artists take the boys seriously. And it's not to say that the boys don't have any talent or any of that stuff, but at the end of the day, a lot of people in America don't look at stuff like that. They don't care about stuff like that. They care about the numbers, and BTS has the talent and the numbers to back everything up. I think a lot of people really just wanted to see JK on his motorcycle, and it was something that was mentioned a few times. People had seen it occasionally, but I don't think people actually saw it to the full extent of him actually using it. And so that definitely was getting a lot of people in the community really riled up and excited. It's something new, and quite frankly, it is a little bit of a monumental moment because it's a moment where he's sharing that with us, something that he doesn't normally do. And the community already thinks he's so hot, right? This is only going to make him appear even hotter. We shall see what else the boys do and what other things are going to receive a lot of attention. As of right now, I'm extremely happy with the amount of attention that the boys have been receiving for their comeback and or just receiving individually for their own posts. I can't wait to see what they release next and if they're going to release another BTS album really soon or if they're just going to release solo work very soon. But either way, they're going to absolutely kill it. I'm very excited to see it. Recently, Bang PD was believed to be getting an arrest warrant from the police. If you're unaware of what this means, this obviously means that the case is currently escalating and it's becoming a lot more of an issue. The police are essentially issuing an arrest warrant to allow them to move forward with potentially arresting him. Now, Bang is already in a travel ban and he's been fully cooperating with the authorities, meaning this was completely unnecessary. And quite frankly, they could arrest him at any time if they had the evidence to prove that he should be arrested. He isn't necessarily stopping them from doing that. However, this news story was recently brought to ABC News, which is now on a mainstream American platform, which is crazy. And when they reached out for comment, essentially there was this idea of it being pretty messed up since Bang was cooperating with the police and the police went ahead and did that anyway. So what is the reason for a police officer or whatever issuing an arrest warrant? Well, there's actually a few more reasons other than the fact that Bang would be guilty. An arrest warrant could be issued to put pressure on Bang and his legal team. The actual warrant itself can be used as evidence later in court to further prove that Bang is guilty if they're able to get it. As of right now, the actual warrant just means that the case has progressed and that the police have some reason to believe that he might be guilty, but nothing completely solid yet. What's kind of messed about the legal system, I think in Korea as well as in the US, is that you don't actually need to prove that someone is guilty to convict them of crime. They just have to be believed by the jury. So as long as an attorney or whoever is siding with the opposing side can prove that Bang may be guilty and convince the jury that Bang can be arrested, and then of course an arrest warrant obviously looks really bad and can convince a jury that he might have done it. Now, as I've said over and over again, we don't know what's been done or what isn't. The actual information that we are receiving is still not indicative of him actually doing anything. The arrest warrant can also prove that he might be burning evidence and that sort of stuff. So it's sort of a way to push that narrative and get the jury to believe that. So it's also a sign that they might not even have enough evidence to convince them, so they have to result in this type of evidence. Plus, a lot of the headlines that are coming out, that's definitely not going to look good. All of the people who are potentially going to be the jurors are going to read and hear all of those things prior to going to court, and they're already going to have a bias in their head, which is not going to be great. But perhaps that can be used against the opposing side and on Bang's case. But that's all I'm going to say about that whole issue. This whole issue issue is extremely convoluted, and the legal system in general, unfortunately, is sometimes that's also built on just opinions and whether or not you're liked. And doing PR and doing all of these crazy things is an easy way to get someone to appear guilty and get them convicted. And of course, what kind of sucks about that is that the opposing side should be balanced and should be fair, and people should be trying to find the truth, not just trying to get people arrested. But that's not the case in a lot of the legal systems. But I also want to say that this is just my opinion from what I read. I'm also not a lawyer. I don't really understand the legal jargon in the US or in Korea. So all this is just an opinion, an alleged conspiracy. I'm not trying to state any of this as fact. There are claims circulating right now of RM smoking in Japan during his time off from the tour in prohibited zones in Japan. And when he's done with the cigarette, throwing the cigarette butt on the floor and then just letting his staff pick it up or asking his staff to pick it up. There's a few things here to note is that there's no actual video showing RM doing this. There are some alleged photos that the label has addressed and said to not count on because those photos were taken without consent and it's a privacy violation, but there are no real videos actually of what's being said. Could RM have smoked by accident in a prohibited zone or something like that? Absolutely, that can definitely happen. Could he have then have dropped the cigarette out of habit, because that's typically how he might let out a cigarette in Korea or in America, and then realize he wasn't supposed to do that and ask the staff to pick it up, or the staff just picked it up on her own? Absolutely too. Or is the situation completely made up and someone just found an opportunity to make RM look bad and make photos appear a certain way? That also can happen. So as you can see, there's so many ways and reasons why certain things can look a certain way. I've said this so many times before, which is when we see someone act out of character and is being labeled as something that is very out of the character for them, we have to think whether or not we're going to believe what we're reading. I think a lot of people who want RM and the rest of the BTS members to appear bad, they want those who are rich and successful to be seen as a bad person, thus they're open to believing something like this. But the boys are not bad people. They've shown that time and time again, and I find it really hard to believe that this is actually what has happened. And I hate when people judge things out of context and start to believe things that clearly don't make any sense, because he could be sitting there reading this and being like, the community should definitely know me better, and I know that I would not do something like this. And at the end of the day, if you truly love someone, you're going to be open to giving them the benefit of the doubt. And a lot of people in the community like to say they love the BTS members, but when they see something like this happens, they're very quick to jump on the other side and say, you're canceled. And it's like, if you love someone, for one, know them and, know that they wouldn't do something like this, or two, ask questions. You should not be the first person to jump on the other side or jump ship immediately. This is the issue that I have with cancel culture for any situation, right? It's that even if this was true, we should try to still look at it with understanding and really look at it like, is this really something he did? I don't know if I believe that, and if it is, why did he do that? And then we can make a decision ultimately at the end of that if we believe he's still a good person or not. But I've said so many times here, and I've said this so many times in prior videos, I don't believe what people are saying online is true, and it hurts that this type of narrative gets painted because the BTS boys have literally done nothing to deserve this. So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you.